Hello, everybody. I've decided to make a video for the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health students, but also for anyone else on YouTube about how to use Stata. And what I thought I'd do is do the problem sets and show how to use Stata, because when I did this, I didn't exactly when I was doing the problem sets, I didn't really understand what I was doing with Stata. I was just sort of following commands and just praying that I'd figure it out as the year went by, and I basically did. But I thought this might be helpful. So you begin by opening Stata, and you'll get something like this, and it'll be just a white box. There might be some data, but some of that has my personal information. I don't want to give that out. But what the best thing you could do is you can start by opening various windows to make it so that you see the full amount of data. So begin by here on the command line, say browse, and what will happen is this will pop up, the editor window. So this window shows you all of the data that the numbers and the variables. This part right here will just show you the results, and this is the command. This is where you put in all the information, where you type whatever commands you want. You can also use all these various um, uh, pull down menus, but I've never done them. And you can, but I think it's easier just with the command line. Anyway, and that's how we're taught at Hopkins. So the first thing is, let me open the data set, and I will provide this data set to everybody um, online as well through my Google Drive. Okay, so what you can see is when I open the data file, you see all of a sudden the data editor window now shows the data. And the data was basically telling me what are the groups, what are the variables, groups, and debts, and I can get more information here on the properties and what have you. And so that's basically showing, but that doesn't really tell me too much about the data. It just shows me the raw data. But we want to do statistics with this data. So what do we do? So the first thing after browse, after opening that window and seeing now the data, what you can do is you can do something like describe, and that'll sort of give you another way of looking at the data. And it's just telling you how many observations. There's 40 observations. There's two variables. When it was created, 2006, this data set, and it's sorted by group. Okay, but let's say we want a little bit more information. We could do codebook. So these are couple of commands you could do at the very beginning to figure out, what am I looking at when I'm looking at this data set. So here's again what the group data set is, and then for the debts, you'll see that they're actually now giving me a standard deviation, a mean, percentiles, all that kind of stuff, missing data if there is any, and all that kind of, and the range. So it's good information. So you could do describe, codebook, um, but one of the first commands you can do is sort. So let's see, sort. You can do sort by group, and you can see nothing really changes on the data editor. But let's say, because it's already been sorted, let's say we say sort by debts, and you'll see all of a sudden now the debts are all sorted by numerical from lowest to highest. So that's a handy function to have. So let's go back by group. I want to sort by groups because that's what the problem set was stating. Group. There's a reason why you'll see that, why we're doing it by group. So I sorted by group, and now again we got all the one and then twos. So now if I want to make a stem and leaf plot, right, we do by. So by group. So by the group, meaning one. By group means by the group 1 and 2. I want to see by those variables. I want to see so for group 1 I want to see the stem and leaf plot, and for group 2 I want to see the stem and leaf plot. So I say by group stem, and then I want to say debts. So I want to do but so the first one will be the first stem and leaf plot will be by the first group, and I want to see the stem of the debts, and I say enter, and there you go. You can see a nice representation, sort of a graphical representation of the data. And you can get more, you can glean more information from this than say this raw data. You can sort of figure out where the means are, where the ranges are, where the skewness is, all that kind of fun stuff. But we can also do another command. So we can do again by the group. So by group 1 or 2, I want stem and I want debts. I can put lines, and I put 1. And what that does is that sort of truncates. Well, that didn't work out. 1 second. Um, oh, I forgot the comma. Sorry. Yes, so you have to be very specific with Stata. It doesn't like little errors. Group, stem, debts, comma, lines, 1. There you go. So you see now it shrunk them. So it's another way of viewing them. And if I want, I can do it again by group, stem, debts, and then say lines 2. Oops. And the same chart that we saw before. So that's a stem and leaf plot, how you do it on Stata. Instead of doing by hand, trust me, when you do this in lab, you want to pull your hair out at one point. This is much easier. So the next command that the problem set gives is it wants to show how do you make a box plot. So you're going to be making tons and tons of these box and whisker plots and doing the interquartile ranges and all that fun stuff. Anyway, if you want to make a graph, what you can do is, let me copy and paste this and copy. There we go. And let me just go over what this means. So we're going to do a graph, and we're going to we're going to make a graph. So you're telling first Stata, you're going to tell Stata, I want to make a graph, right? And then the next one is the box plot itself. And then you want a box plot of debts. And then you want by, let me see, I'm sorry, 1 second. There we go. You want graph, box plots, and then by group. So you'll see what happens. It gives a couple of seconds, and there's a box plot of debts by group 1 and group 2. So the graph, of course, just brings this up. The box has this kind of box plot, and then we want a box plot of debts. If I did graph, and I said box, and I said debts. Now look what happens. Now these are all the debts. So you'll see that all these debts, if I just make regardless of the group, I can just make a box plot of all the debts. I don't care about the groups here. But if I want to see it by groups, that's when I do graph, box, debts. But I want by the group. So imagine instead of group, there was, I don't know, there was something else, sex or something. Then you could have seen it by male or female. So there you go. And likely group 1 and 2 is male or female, but anyway. So this is a quick overview of the first part of the problem set. The next video will be about the second part of the problem set. I don't want to make these videos too long. You can ask me any questions you want on the comments, and thank you very much.